Picture yourself at the base of a towering mountain, its peak shrouded in a thick, unyielding mist. You can't see the summit, the place where your greatest potential waits, but you feel its pull, a silent promise of something extraordinary. Yet, here you stand, tethered to the familiar ground, unwilling to climb. Why? Because the fog of complacency wraps around you like a heavy cloak, whispering that this is enough, that settling is safe. You've accepted low standards, not because you lack strength, but because the climb feels too steep, the mist too blinding. In this moment, I'm speaking directly to you. The weight of settling is heavier than any mountain you'll ever face. Within the broader journey of changing your standards to transform your life, let's uncover why you've chosen the easy path and what it's costing you. Feel the ache of unfulfilled dreams stirring within. It's time to confront the fog and take the first step upward. Imagine yourself as a painter at heart, someone whose soul lights up with every stroke of a brush. Your talent is undeniable. Friends marvel at your sketches. And deep down, you know you could create masterpieces. But instead, you clock in daily at a soul-draining job, filing papers in a gray cubicle that feels like a cage. The paycheck is steady, just enough to pay the bills, and the routine is safe. Years ago, you applied to art school, but the rejection letter stung so deeply that you buried your ambition beneath a pile of what-ifs. What if you fail again? What if you're not good enough? So, you settle. You tell yourself this job is fine, that dreams are for others, not for you. Day after day, you watch the clock tick, feeling a quiet ache in your chest. The canvas in your apartment gathers dust, and your hands, once alive with color, now shuffle paperwork. The weight of settling presses down. You're not just stuck in a job, you're stuck in a smaller version of yourself. But here's the truth. Tied to the mountain peak in the mist, your summit, your true potential as an artist, is still there, hidden behind the fog of fear. You haven't lost it. You've just stopped climbing toward it. The lesson burns bright. Settling for less than you're capable of doesn't just dim your present, it steals your future. You must dare to step out of the cage, even if the first step feels like a leap into the unknown. Now, picture yourself in a relationship that drains you more than it fills you. You're with someone who criticizes your every move, whose words cut like jagged stones, leaving scars on your self-worth. Maybe it's a partner, a friend, or even family. You stay because you've convinced yourself this is all you deserve, or because the idea of being alone feels like a colder storm than the one you're in. You remember the early days, the fleeting moments of warmth, and you cling to them like a lifeline, hoping things will change, but they don't. Each day, you feel smaller, your laughter quieter, your dreams tucked away in a corner of your heart you no longer visit. You've settled for toxicity because the fog of complacency tells you it's easier to endure than to leave. But at what cost? Your spirit wilts, and the mountain of your potential, where respect, love, and dignity await, disappears further into the mist. The consequence of staying is a slow erosion of who you are. The lesson here echoes through the haze. Settling for relationships that diminish you is a betrayal of your own worth. That summit, where you stand whole and valued, is still there. You just have to choose to climb, to release the chains, and walk away from what no longer serves you. Let's pause and look deeper into why you settle. The fog of complacency isn't just a barrier. It's a seductive trap, a soft blanket that promises comfort while quietly suffocating your ambition. You accept low standards not because you're weak, but because the immediate feels safer than the uncertain. Think about it. How many times have you chosen the known misery over the unknown possibility? How many dreams have you buried under the excuse of not now, or maybe later? Settling is a slow poison. It doesn't strike with a sudden blow, but creeps in, numbing you to your own potential. Consider the mountain peak in the mist. That summit represents the life you could have if you raised your standards. The career that ignites you, the relationships that lift you, the self-respect that anchors you. But the fog of complacency obscures it, whispering that the climb isn't worth the effort, that you might fall, that staying at the base is enough. And the consequence: you live half a life, haunted by the quiet regret of what could have been. Pain isn't your enemy here. It's the fog. It's the illusion that settling is rest when, in truth, it's a heavier burden than any struggle on the ascent. Recognize this. Every day you settle, you drift further from your summit. The mist won't clear on its own. You must move through it. Let's reflect further on the price you pay for staying in comfort. Settling is like building a house on quicksand. It feels stable for a moment, but slowly, inevitably, it sinks. You might not notice the descent at first. The dead-end job pays the bills. The toxic relationship offers fleeting familiarity. But beneath the surface, your foundation crumbles. Your confidence erodes. Your sense of purpose fades. You become a shadow of who you were meant to be. And the weight of that loss is heavier than any mountain climb could ever be. Imagine the mountain again. The summit is there, hidden in mist, but it's not unreachable. Every step you refuse to take, every standard you refuse to raise, adds another layer of fog. The consequence of staying still isn't just stagnation, it's decay. You don't just miss out on growth, you lose pieces of yourself. Ask yourself, how much of your spirit have you sacrificed for the illusion of safety? The truth is, comfort is a gilded cage. It shines with false promises, but it locks you away from the life waiting at the peak. To change your standards is to shatter that cage, to embrace the uncertainty of the climb, knowing that even a single step upward brings you closer to clarity, to freedom, to you. Now, let's turn insight into action. When the weight of settling feels immovable, pause and confront the excuses holding you back. Take a moment today, right now, if you can, grab a piece of paper or open a note on your phone. Write down one area where you've settled, whether it's a job that stifles you or a relationship that dims your light. Then, list the reasons you've stayed. Be brutally honest. Is it fear of failure? Fear of being alone? The belief that you don't deserve more? Next, challenge each excuse. If you fear failure, remind yourself that staying where you are is already a failure of a different kind. It's failing to try. If you fear loneliness, know that being alone with your dignity is far lighter than being bound by toxicity. Finally, write one small step you can take to raise your standard. Maybe it's updating your portfolio to apply for a better role. Maybe it's setting a boundary with someone who disrespects you. The fog of complacency thrives on inaction, so strike against it with even the smallest move. You don't need to see the summit yet. Just take the first step through the mist. That single act of defiance against settling will ignite a spark within you, a reminder of your strength. Here's another tool to break free from low standards. Redefine what enough means to you. Settling often comes from accepting a warped definition of sufficiency, thinking a mediocre job or a draining relationship is all you're worthy of. So, shift the frame. Sit with yourself in a quiet space and ask, what do I truly want my life to feel like? Not what's easy, not what's expected, but what sets your soul on fire. Visualize that summit, the peak where your potential shines. What does it look like? A career where you create rather than conform. Connections that inspire rather than wound. Write down 3 non-negotiables, standards you refuse to compromise on moving forward. Maybe it's respect in every interaction, or pursuing work that aligns with your passion, or carving out time for your own growth. Keep this list close, a compass to guide you when the fog of complacency thickens. Each day, check your actions against these standards. Are you honoring them, or are you slipping back into just enough? Raising your standards isn't a one-time leap. It's a daily choice to reject settling. Start small, but start now. Every decision to demand more of life pulls you one step higher up the mountain. As we close this exploration of the weight of settling, let's anchor ourselves in the truth we've uncovered. Accepting low standards is a silent thief. stealing your potential while cloaking itself as comfort. You've seen it in the painter trapped in a cubicle, in the soul diminished by toxic bonds. You've felt it in the fog of complacency that hides your summit, and you've learned that the consequence of staying still is a life half-lived. The key lesson rings clear. To change your life, you must first refuse to settle for less than your worth. The mountain peak of your potential is there, waiting beyond the mist, but only you can choose to climb. This is just the beginning of our journey together. As we move forward, we'll build the courage and tools to raise your standards, to carve a path through the fog. For now, hold this truth close. Every step away from settling is a step toward clarity, toward the life you were meant to claim. Let this mantra be your guide as you stand at the base of your mountain, ready to ascend. Rise through the mist, your summit calls. Picture a river, wild and untamed, cutting through ancient stone. It doesn't ask permission. It doesn't hesitate at the first obstacle. It carves its path with relentless force, shaping the earth itself over time. That river is you, or it can be. Right now, you stand at the edge of your own life, staring at a landscape of mediocrity, of half-hearted efforts, of standards that keep you small. Do you feel the ache inside, the quiet whisper that demands more? This is your awakening. This is the call to rise. In this journey of changing your standards to change your life, you must first recognize the transformative power of demanding more from yourself. Raising your standards isn't just a choice. It's a declaration that you will no longer settle for the shallow waters. You will forge a new direction, just as the river does. And in doing so, reshape everything around you. Let's step into this current together. Feel the pull. It's time to move. Imagine yourself as a student, sitting in a dimly lit room, surrounded by textbooks you've barely touched. Your grades are a patchwork of just enough, C's and D's scrawled across report cards, a testament to late-night cramming and half-hearted attempts. You've coasted for years, telling yourself it's fine, that passing is enough. But one day, as you stare at another failed quiz, something snaps. A fire ignites in your chest. You're tired of being average, of shrinking into the background while others soar. You hear that inner voice, "This isn't who I am." That moment is your call to rise. You decide to demand more of yourself. No more excuses. No more waiting for motivation to strike like lightning. You craft a rigorous study schedule, early mornings, late nights, every hour accounted for. The first week is brutal. Your mind wanders, your body begs for rest, but you push through, you turn off distractions, silence your phone, and dive into the material with a hunger you didn't know you had. Weeks turn into months, and something shifts. Concepts that once felt like riddles start to click. Your grades climb. Teachers notice. Peers ask for your help. But more than the external change, you feel it inside. A quiet strength, a sense of control. You've carved a new path, just like a river slicing through stone, redirecting your life with every disciplined choice. The lesson here is clear. Raising your standards isn't about instant perfection. It's about deciding to no longer accept the version of yourself that settles. Like the river, you don't stop at the first barrier. You keep flowing, keep cutting deeper, until the landscape of your life reflects the power of your resolve. Now, see yourself as an athlete, standing on a field at dusk, sweat dripping down your face. You've been at this for years, training, competing, but always falling short of the podium. Your results are average, and deep down, you know why. You've skipped workouts when it rained. You've cut corners on nutrition, grabbing fast food instead of fuel. You've told yourself, "I'm trying," but the mirror of truth shows a half-hearted effort. Then, one day, after another lackluster performance, you catch your reflection in a teammate's disappointed gaze. Enough. You're done being ordinary. You commit to a new level of discipline. You wake before dawn, lacing up your shoes while the world sleeps. You redesign your diet, trading convenience for sustenance that builds your body. You push through pain in every training session, No longer stopping when it burns, but asking, can I give one more? The first month feels like scaling a sheer cliff. Every muscle screams. Every doubt roars. But you don't flinch. You don't fold. Slowly, your endurance grows. Your speed sharpens. Competitions come, and you're no longer in the middle of the pack. You're leading it. The crowd cheers, but the real victory is within. You've forged a new version of yourself. A river redirecting its course, unstoppable in its pursuit. What you learn is this: higher standards are your chisel. They shape you, even when the process stings. Like the river, your commitment to excellence creates a path no one else can replicate, a life defined by your refusal to settle. Let's pause and look deeper. What does it mean to raise your standards? It's not about perfection or punishing yourself with impossible goals. It's about recognizing that you are capable of more effort, more focus, more growth. Think of your life as a river. For too long, you've flowed along the easiest route, avoiding the hard edges, the unyielding stone. But a river doesn't become mighty by staying comfortable. It gains strength by challenging the terrain, by daring to carve through what seems impenetrable. So must you. Have you ever considered how much of your potential lies dormant, buried beneath low expectations? How many times have you accepted good enough when great was within reach? Raising your standards is your act of rebellion against complacency. It's a vow to no longer drift, but to surge forward with purpose. Every time you choose discipline over ease, you deepen your riverbed. Every time you say no to mediocrity, you widen your path. The transformative power of this choice isn't just in the results, it's in who you become along the way. You are not just reshaping your life, you are forging your soul into something unbreakable. There's a weight to this awakening, isn't there? When you first hear the call to rise, it feels like a storm brewing inside you. You see where you've settled, where you've let yourself down, and it stings. But that discomfort is not your enemy. It's your signal. It's the rumble of a river gaining momentum before it breaks through. Higher standards demand that you face the truth. You've been playing small. You've built walls of excuses around your dreams, brick by brick, until they're out of sight. But now, you feel the current stirring. You know it's time to tear those walls down. What stops you from answering this call? Is it fear of failure or fear of the effort itself? Understand this: the pain of staying the same is far heavier than the pain of change. When you raise your standards, you don't just alter your habits, you redefine your identity. You become the river that doesn't wait for permission to flow. You become the force that shapes mountains, not the pebble that rolls with the tide. This awakening is your turning point. Embrace it. Let it push you forward, even when the current feels too strong to bear. So, how do you start? How do you awaken to higher standards when the pull of old habits is so strong? It begins with a single, deliberate act. Sit down today, right now, if you can, and write out what you've been accepting that no longer serves you. Is it procrastination? Is it skipping the hard tasks? Name it. Then, beside it, write the standard you will hold yourself to instead. If you've been studying for an hour a day and barely passing, commit to 3 hours with focused intent. If you've been training inconsistently, schedule every session like it's a non-negotiable. Make it specific. Make it real. Next, create a visible reminder. Post that commitment where you'll see it, on your desk, your mirror, your phone. Let it stare you down. When temptation creeps in, pause. Look at that reminder and ask yourself, am I honoring the river I want to become? Or am I drifting back to shallow waters? One choice at a time, you build momentum. One day at a time, you carve your path. This isn't about overnight change. It's about consistent pressure, like water wearing down stone. Start small, but start now. Here's another step to anchor this awakening. Measure your progress, but not with harsh judgment. Think of yourself as a river. Your growth isn't always visible day by day, but over time, The evidence is undeniable. Each week, take 10 minutes to reflect. Write down one area where you upheld a higher standard. Maybe you stuck to your study schedule despite exhaustion. Maybe you pushed through a grueling workout when you wanted to quit. Celebrate that. Then, note one area where you slipped. Be honest, but not cruel. Ask, what can I adjust next week to stay on course? This practice keeps you accountable without breaking your spirit. It's not about perfection, it's about direction. When doubt creeps in, and it will, look back at your notes. See how far you've come, even in small ways. That's your proof. That's your river widening, deepening, gaining force. Use it as fuel to keep going. Commit to this ritual. It's your compass, guiding you through the fog of self-doubt, ensuring you don't lose sight of the path you're forging. As we stand here, at the edge of this awakening, let's hold tight to what we've uncovered. Raising your standards is not a fleeting decision. It's a lifelong vow to carve a bolder, truer path for your life. You've seen it in the student who transformed mediocrity into mastery, in the athlete who turned average into excellence. You've felt it in the river of resolve that surges within you, ready to reshape everything in its way. The key lesson is this: when you demand more of yourself, you don't just change your actions, you change your destiny. Higher standards are the current that propels you forward, the force that turns obstacles into stepping stones. Now, as we prepare to dive deeper in the next part of this journey, carry this truth with you. You are not meant to drift. You are meant to roar. Let every choice, every step, reflect the river you are becoming. Hold fast to this mantra and let it echo in your soul as you move forward. Forge your path. Your life awaits on the other side. Picture yourself in a dimly lit forge, the air thick with the scent of molten iron and the relentless clang of hammer on steel. Sweat beads on your forehead as you strike again and again, shaping raw metal into something unbreakable. This is no mere craft, it's a mirror of your life. Every blow is a choice, every spark a test of your resolve. Will you falter under the heat, or will you forge yourself into something stronger? In this crucible of commitment, you learn the truth. Change your standards, and your life will change. Raising the bar isn't just about aiming higher. It's about enduring the pressure, embracing the grind, and refusing to bend when the world demands you break. You are the blacksmith of your destiny, and the steel of your will is tempered by the challenges you choose to face. Step into this forge with me. Feel the heat. Let it shape you. We're here to uncover the effort and resilience it takes to uphold higher standards, even when the flames roar loudest. Imagine you're a small business owner, running a bakery in a bustling town. You've built your name on quality, every loaf, every pastry, a testament to your care. But the world isn't kind. A supplier fails you, delivering subpar ingredients. A competitor slashes prices, drawing your loyal customers away with cheap alternatives. Bills pile up, and whispers of doubt creep in. Just cut corners this once. No one will notice. Your hands tremble as you knead the dough, the weight of compromise pressing down harder than any rolling pin. You could lower your standards, save a few dollars, and ease the ache in your chest. But you don't. You remember why you started. Your promise to deliver excellence, to nourish not just bodies, but trust. So, you source better ingredients, even if it means sleepless nights. You rebuild, one customer at a time, with every golden crust and honest smile. Months pass, and the tide turns. Clients return, not just for your bread, but for the integrity they taste in every bite. You've forged something stronger than profit, trust, tempered by your refusal to break. This is the blacksmith's lesson. Holding yourself to higher standards isn't a one-time choice. It's a relentless hammering, a daily strike against the temptation to settle. Each setback is a flame, each decision a blow. You didn't just save your business, you forged your character. And in that heat, you found a truth. Resilience isn't about avoiding the fire, It's about standing in it until you emerge unbreakable. Now, see yourself as a parent, bone tired after a grueling day. Your children are asleep, their small faces peaceful in the dim light, unaware of the storm raging in your heart. You've set a standard for yourself, not just to provide, but to model integrity, to be a lighthouse in their uncertain seas. Yet, exhaustion gnaws at you. A coworker offered a shortcut today, a way to fudge numbers at work for a quick bonus. No one would know, and the extra money could ease your burden. But you know, and deep down, you understand that your children learn not from your words, but from the shadow you cast. So, you refuse. You clock the extra hours. Even when your body screams for rest, you speak honestly, even when it stings. One night, your eldest catches you poring over bills, worry etched on your face. They ask why you don't take the easy way. You pause, then answer. Because doing right matters more than feeling right. Years later, that child stands tall, facing their own battles with the same unyielding spine. You forge their strength in the quiet moments when you chose not to bend. Like steel in the blacksmith's hands, your standards were tested under crushing pressure. You didn't just endure, you shaped a legacy. The lesson burns bright, upholding your values, even when no one sees, tempers the core of who you are and who others become because of you. Let's step back into the forge for a moment. Feel the heat licking at your skin, the weight of the hammer in your grip. Why does it hurt so much to hold yourself to a higher bar? Because growth is never gentle. It's a violent reshaping, a tearing down of the old to build the new. Standards aren't just rules. They're the anvil against which you measure your worth. When you commit to better, whether it's in your work, your relationships, or your soul, you invite the flames. Doubt will sear you. Failure will strike like a hammer. The world will howl for you to lower the bar, to cool the fire, to rest. But here's the secret. The heat isn't your enemy. It's your ally. It burns away weakness, leaving only the steel of your resolve. Have you ever considered how many versions of yourself you've melted down to become who you are now? How many times have you wanted to quit, only to strike one more blow and find strength you didn't know you had? Think of a river carving through stone. It doesn't rush in a day. It wears down mountains over centuries, relentless in its flow. So too must you be with your standards. Commitment isn't a sprint. It's a slow, grinding forge. You don't just hold the line. You temper it day by day until it's unbreakable. So, stand in the heat. Let it shape you. The pain is proof you're becoming. Pause and consider the hammer in your hand. It's heavy, isn't it? Each swing takes more than muscle. It takes will. Upholding higher standards is like this: a burden you choose to bear because you know what's on the other side. The world loves mediocrity. It rewards the easy path with fleeting comfort. But you're not here for comfort. You're here to build something enduring, something that outlasts the rust of compromise. Why do so many crumble under this weight? Because they see the hammer as punishment, not purpose. They don't understand that every strike, every ache, is crafting a masterpiece. Your life is the steel, and your standards are the force that shapes it. When you falter, and you will, remember this: the hammer doesn't stop because you're tired. The forge doesn't cool because you're scared. You must swing anyway. Look at the scars on your hands, the calluses of your journey. They're not flaws. They're proof of your labor. Each time you choose integrity over ease, discipline over distraction, you add a layer of strength to your core, like a tree bending in a storm. You learn to root deeper with every gale. So, ask yourself, what are you forging right now? What standard are you tempering under the weight of your choices? Don't shy from the burden. Lift it, swing it, shape it. Your life depends on the strikes you dare to make. When the flames of challenge roar around you, it's easy to flinch, to step back from the heat of your standards. Don't. Here's how to stand firm. First, Define your non-negotiables. Write them down, whether it's honesty in your dealings, quality in your work, or presence in your relationships. These are your anvil, the unyielding surface against which you'll shape your life. When temptation whispers, look at this list. Remind yourself why you set this bar. Second, anticipate the heat. Challenges will come, deadlines, exhaustion, doubt. Prepare for them by building a small ritual of resilience. Maybe it's a morning affirmation. I don't break, I build. Or a quick pause to breathe before reacting. Third, measure your strikes. Each day, ask, did I uphold my standard today? If not, don't despair. Adjust. Strike again tomorrow. Finally, surround yourself with other blacksmiths, people who forge their own strength, who won't let you lower your bar. Their fire will fuel yours. You're not alone in this forge. Use these steps, and the heat won't burn you. It'll temper you. Sometimes, despite your grit, the steel cracks, you falter, you compromise. Maybe you snapped under pressure or let exhaustion dull your edge. That's not the end. Here's how to rebuild. Start by facing the break head on. Acknowledge where you lowered your standard. Don't hide from it. Write down what happened and why. Was it fear, fatigue? Then, reforge your intent. Remind yourself of the bigger vision. Why this standard matters. If it's about integrity, picture the trust you're rebuilding. If it's about effort, see the legacy you're crafting. Next, take one small action to realign. If you cut corners at work, go back and fix it, even if it costs time. If you broke a promise, own it and make amends. Finally, protect your forge. Identify the triggers that led to the break and build barriers. Maybe it's saying no to overcommitment or scheduling rest before you snap. Cracks don't define you. How you mend them does. Pick up the hammer. Strike again. Your steel is stronger for the repair. As the embers of this forge glow, let's gather the lessons we've hammered into shape. Upholding higher standards isn't a gentle path. It's a relentless fire, a test of your will under crushing heat. You've seen it in the business owner who rebuilt trust with every loaf, in the parent who carved integrity into their children's hearts. You've felt it in the weight of your own hammer, the burn of your own choices. The takeaway is clear. Commitment to your standards, even amidst chaos, forges a life of unyielding strength. It's not about perfection, it's about persistence. Every strike, every stand, shapes you into something the world can't bend. So, keep stoking the fire within. Let challenges temper you, not break you. As we move forward, carry this heat into the next battlefield of change, ready to forge even greater heights. Strike relentless. Your steel is forged in fire. Picture this, a tiny seedling, barely visible, trapped beneath the weight of unyielding stone. It has no voice to cry out, no hands to push, yet it presses forward with silent, relentless force. Why? Because its very existence depends on breaking through. You too stand at the edge of transformation, facing the heavy stone of doubt and the sharp edges of criticism. Will you push through, or will you shrink back into the soil of comfort? In this journey to change your standards and transform your life, resistance is not a barrier. It's the very forge that shapes your strength. Here, in the heart of struggle, you learn to sustain the elevated standards you've set for yourself. Feel the tension in your chest, the ache of uncertainty. That's not weakness. That's the signal you're growing. Let's shatter the stone together and uncover the light waiting on the other side. Imagine you're a creative professional, a painter, a writer, a designer, burning with a vision so bold it scares even you. You've spent sleepless nights sketching ideas that defy convention, crafting a project that could redefine your field. You've raised your standards, refusing to settle for mediocrity or safe choices. But when you unveil your work to the world, the response isn't awe, it's ridicule. Colleagues smirk, whispering that you've overreached. Friends question why you didn't stick to what's practical. Even strangers online tear into your creation with casual cruelty. The weight of their words presses down like a slab of granite, threatening to crush the fragile sprout of your ambition. You feel the sting, the heat of embarrassment. You wonder if they're right, if you've aimed too high, if you should just conform. But something inside you, a quiet but stubborn force, refuses to yield. You remember why you started, not for their approval, but to bring something new into the world. So you return to your studio, your desk, your canvas. You refine your work, not to please them, but to honor your own vision. You raise your standards even higher, demanding more of yourself than ever before. Months pass, then years. Slowly, the tide turns. A few voices begin to praise your originality, then more. Eventually, those who once mocked you seek your advice, your collaboration. They respect you, not because you bent to their will, but because you pushed through the stone of their criticism with the sheer force of your elevated standards. What's the lesson here? Like the seedling cracking through rock. Higher standards demand that you endure the pressure of external doubt. Resistance isn't a sign you're wrong. It's proof you're carving a new path. The world may not understand your vision at first, but it will bend to the strength of your persistence. Keep pushing. The light of respect and impact awaits. Now picture yourself as someone who's decided to transform their health. You've spent years trapped in habits that drain you. Late night snacking, endless scrolling, skipping movement for the comfort of the couch. But one day you draw a line in the sand. You raise your standards, no more excuses. You commit to a healthier lifestyle, nutritious meals, daily exercise, restful sleep. You envision a version of yourself that's strong, vibrant, unstoppable. Yet the moment you begin, resistance slams into you like a storm. Your body aches after the first workout. Your mind screams for sugar, for ease. Worse, self-doubt creeps in, whispering, "You've failed before. Why would this time be different?" Friends and family, though well-meaning, question your choices. "Why so strict?" they ask. "Live a little." The stone of old patterns and external skepticism looms over you, heavy and cold. There are days you stumble, skipping a workout, giving in to temptation. Each slip feels like a crack in your resolve. But you pause, you breathe. You remind yourself that a seedling doesn't break through stone in a single push. It grows in increments, day by day. So you get back up. You lace your sneakers even when you don't feel like it. You choose a salad over a burger, not out of deprivation, but out of respect for the standard you've set. Over weeks, then months, the failures become fewer. The aches turn to strength. Your reflection in the mirror shifts, and so does your spirit. You've pushed past the initial resistance, past the voices of doubt, both internal and external, and you've built a life that matches your elevated vision. The truth here mirrors the seedling struggle. Higher standards demand the strength to shatter old limitations. Even when the weight of doubt feels unbearable, each small victory, each choice to keep going, chips away at the stone until you emerge, transformed into the light of your potential. Let's step back and consider this. Why does resistance feel so personal, so piercing? When you raise your standards, when you dare to demand more of yourself, the world, both within and without, pushes back. It's as if the universe tests your resolve, piling stones of doubt and criticism to see if you'll crumble. But understand this, resistance is not your enemy. It's the very soil in which your strength takes root. Like a seedling pressing against unyielding rock, you must embrace the struggle as the path to growth. Without the stone, there's no need for resilience. Without the pushback, there's no proof of your power. Think of the great rivers of the world. They don't carve their paths through soft earth alone. They wear down mountains, shaping stone over centuries with relentless flow. So too must you shape your life. Every doubt you face, every harsh word thrown at you, is a piece of that mountain. Will you let it stop you, or will you flow over it, around it, through it? How many times have you retreated at the first sign of resistance, mistaking it for failure? The truth is, resistance is the signal you're on the right path. It means you've dared to step beyond the ordinary, to demand a life that matches your highest vision. So, stand firm. Let the weight of doubt and criticism hone you, not break you. Your elevated standards are the current that will carve a legacy. Now turn inward. The external voices, those who mock, question, or discourage, are only half the battle. The heavier stone often lies within. Self-doubt is a silent predator, creeping into your mind when you're most vulnerable. It tells you you're not enough, that your standards are too high, that you'll never sustain the change you seek. Have you ever stopped to ask, why do I listen to this voice? Why do I give it power over my potential? That inner stone is made of past failures, old fears, and the comfort of staying small. But like the seedling, you were not born to remain buried. You were born to break through. Picture your doubt as a frozen lake, its surface hard and unyielding. Beneath it, though, lies a current of strength, of possibility. Every time you choose to act despite the fear, every time you uphold your standards in the face of uncertainty, you crack that ice a little more. Painful? Yes. Necessary? Absolutely. Growth is not a gentle process. It's a violent, beautiful rupture, a shattering of what was to make room for what will be. So, don't fear the inner resistance. Welcome it. Let it teach you the depth of your own resolve. Higher standards demand that you confront this stone, not with anger, but with patience and persistence. Break through, layer by layer, until the current of your true self flows free. When external criticism threatens to derail your elevated standards, you need a shield. Here's how to build one. First, pause. Don't react in the heat of judgment. Take a breath and remind yourself, their words reflect their limits, not yours. Next, refocus on your why. Write down one core reason you've raised your standards, be it to create something groundbreaking, to transform your health, or to live with integrity. Keep that reason close, like a compass in a storm. When the noise grows loud, read it. Let it anchor you. Then curate your circle. Surround yourself with those who challenge you to grow, not those who pull you back into the soil of mediocrity. If someone's criticism offers no constructive value, limit their access to your journey. Finally, celebrate small wins. Did you stick to your vision despite a harsh comment? Did you choose your path over their doubt? Mark that moment. Let it be proof that you're stronger than their words. Resistance from others is inevitable, but it's not insurmountable. Arm yourself with purpose, and their stones will shatter before they reach you. Internal resistance or self-doubt can be trickier, but you can master it with deliberate steps. Start by naming the doubt. When that voice whispers, "You can't do this," write down exactly what it's saying. Seeing it on paper strips it of its shadowy power. Then counter it. Next to each doubt, list one piece of evidence that proves it wrong. Maybe you've already taken a step forward, however small. Maybe you've overcome something similar before. Build your case against the doubt. Next, act anyway. Doubt thrives on inaction, so starve it. Take one tiny step toward your elevated standard, whether it's a single push-up, a single sentence in your project, or a single moment of saying no to an old habit. Action, even imperfect, cracks the stone. Finally, reflect at the end of each day. Ask yourself, what did I do today to honor my standards? Write down one thing. Let it remind you that you're not standing still, you're growing. Self-doubt is a heavy weight, but with each conscious choice, you chip away at it until it no longer holds you down. As we close this chapter on breaking through resistance, remember this: the stone of doubt and criticism, both from within and without, is not a wall, it's a doorway. You've seen it in the visionary who turned ridicule into respect, in the individual who transformed their health despite countless stumbles. You felt it in the philosophical truths that resistance is your forge, your river, your path to strength, and you've armed yourself with practical tools to silence the noise and conquer the inner storm. The key lesson here is that sustaining elevated standards requires you to shatter old limitations with relentless force. Just as a seedling breaks through stone to reach the sun, you are not meant to stay buried beneath the weight of fear or judgment. You are meant to rise, to push, to grow. So, when resistance looms, don't flinch, don't retreat. Press forward with the unyielding strength of your standards. The life you've envisioned waits just beyond the break. As we move into the next phase of this journey, carry this truth with you. Transformation is not a gift. It's a battle won through persistence. Push through. Your light is waiting on the other side. Picture a storm-torn sea, waves crashing against jagged rocks, and in the heart of the chaos, a lighthouse stands unyielding. Its beam cuts through the darkness, a silent promise of safety and direction. That lighthouse is you. When you raise your standards and refuse to bow to the tempest of doubt or compromise, you become the beacon, not just for yourself, but for everyone lost in their own storms. Welcome to the horizon of transformation, where the profound changes in your life and identity bloom from the roots of unwavering standards. Here and in this moment, you are not just surviving, you are redefining what it means to live. How far will you stretch your vision? How bright will your light shine? Let's step into this journey together, under the theme of change your standards and your life will change, and witness the rebirth that comes when you demand more of yourself than the world ever dared to ask. There was a time when Mia, a painter with trembling hands and a heart full of doubt, could barely afford the brushes she clutched so tightly. Her tiny apartment was a gallery of rejection, canvases slashed with criticism, gallery doors slammed in her face. "You're not good enough," they said. "Your work lacks soul." Each word was a stone, piling up to build a wall between her and her vision. She could have surrendered, taken a safer path, traded her art for a paycheck. But Mia chose differently. She raised her standard. She vowed to paint not for approval, but for truth. Her truth. Late nights bled into dawn as she poured her pain onto the canvas, refusing to dilute her vision for anyone's comfort. Years later, standing in a gallery bathed in golden light, Mia watched as strangers wept before her work. Her paintings, once dismissed, now commanded awe. Doors she never dreamed of knocking on swung wide open. Collectors sought her name. Students begged for her wisdom. What changed? Not the world, not her talent, but her refusal to compromise. She became a lighthouse in her own storm, her elevated standards piercing the fog of rejection. Her light didn't just guide her, it drew others to her shore, proving that when you stand firm on your principles, the world reshapes itself around you. Mia's story whispers to you now. What are you willing to endure to protect your craft? Your transformation awaits on the other side of that choice. Then there's Caleb, a man who once walked through life with his head bowed, accepting crumbs of affection from relationships that drained his spirit. Friends took without giving, partners dismissed his worth, and he believed that was all he deserved. "I'm not enough," he thought, letting others define his value. But one day, staring into the mirror after another betrayal, he felt a spark ignite. Enough. He would no longer settle for half-hearted connections. Caleb raised his standard for how he allowed others to treat him and how he treated himself. He began to speak with conviction, to walk away from toxicity, to demand respect not with arrogance, but with quiet strength. The change was seismic. Old ties frayed and fell away, but in their place came souls who saw his worth and mirrored it. A friend who listened as fiercely as he spoke, a partner who celebrated his quirks as treasures. Caleb's relationships transformed because he became a lighthouse. His new standard of self-worth, a beam that repelled the unworthy and attracted the genuine. People didn't just respect him, they were inspired by him. His story challenges you. Where in your life are you accepting less than you deserve? Raise your standard and watch who gathers around your light, your identity, your connections. Your entire world will shift when you refuse to dim yourself for anyone. Think of your life as an endless ocean. Storms brewing on every horizon. Doubt, fear, and compromise are the waves that threaten to drag you under. But within you stands a lighthouse, built brick by brick from the standards you choose to uphold. When you elevate those standards, when you say no to mediocrity, no to settling, no to shrinking, you ignite a beam so powerful it pierces even the thickest fog. That light doesn't just save you, it becomes a signal to others, a call to rise above their own tempests. How often have you dimmed your light to fit in? How many times have you let the storm dictate your direction? Your transformation isn't a quiet event. It's a rebellion against everything that seeks to keep you small. Unwavering standards are your foundation. They are the steel in your spine when the world pushes you to bend. They are the fire in your chest when apathy whispers to give up. Celebrate this change, this forging of a new identity, because it's not just about you. Your light ripples outward, touching lives you may never see. A child watches you refuse to quit and finds courage. A friend sees you honor your worth and rethinks their own. You are more than a survivor of the storm. You are its conqueror, its guide. Stand tall. Let your lighthouse shine. The horizon of transformation is yours to claim. Consider a pebble dropped into still water. One small act, one firm decision to hold yourself to a higher standard, creates ripples that stretch far beyond what you can see. When you refuse to compromise on your values, you don't just change your life, you alter the current of everyone around you. Your elevated standards become a silent sermon, preaching resilience to the weary, strength to the broken, and vision to the lost. Why do we fear demanding more of ourselves? Is it the weight of responsibility, or the loneliness of standing apart until others catch up? Your transformation is a mirror. It reflects what's possible when you stop accepting the ordinary as your ceiling. It shows the world that identity isn't fixed. It's forged, like a river carving through stone. Your unwavering resolve shapes not just your path, but the landscape of your entire existence. Relationships deepen because you've set a standard for authenticity. Opportunities emerge because you've set a standard for excellence. Inner peace blooms because you've set a standard for self-respect. Celebrate this profound shift, for it's not a fleeting moment, but a lifelong becoming. You are the lighthouse, and your beam doesn't just guide, it transforms. Let that truth anchor you. Let it push you to raise the bar even higher. When the storm of life rages and doubt threatens to pull you under, you need a way to anchor your elevated standards. Start with this. Each morning, carve out 5 minutes to define your non-negotiables. Write them down. What will you not compromise on today? Is it the quality of your work, the respect you give and receive, the time you invest in your growth? Let these be your lighthouse, guiding your decisions when temptation or fatigue strikes. If a choice doesn't align with your standards, let it pass. You don't bend, you stand. Next, reflect at day's end. Ask yourself, did I honor my standards today? Where did I waver, and why? This isn't about judgment, but clarity. If you faltered, recommit. If you held firm, celebrate that victory. No matter how small, transformation isn't built in grand gestures alone. It's in the quiet, daily choices to uphold your worth. Keep a record of these moments. Over weeks, you'll see the horizon of your life shifting, new opportunities, deeper connections, a stronger you. Your standards are your beam. Shine them relentlessly. The world will test your standards. It will offer shortcuts, easy outs, and voices that urge you to settle. Guard your light with fierce intention. When pressure mounts to compromise, whether in a job, a relationship, or a personal goal, pause, breathe. Ask yourself, does this align with the identity I'm building? If the answer is no, walk away, even if it stings. Your lighthouse doesn't sway with every gust. It stands firm, piercing the storm. Surround yourself with those who reflect your standards or challenge you to raise them higher. Seek mentors, friends, or communities that embody the excellence you strive for. Their presence will reinforce your resolve. And when you feel isolated in your commitment, remember this: transformation often begins in solitude. Write one reason each day why your standards matter. Tape it where you'll see it. Let it be your reminder that every storm passes, but your light endures. Protect it. Nurture it. Your life will change as profoundly as you defend the beacon within. As we stand on the horizon of transformation, look back at the storms you've weathered. See how raising your standards has not just changed your life, but redefined who you are. Mia, the artist, painted her soul into existence by refusing to dilute her vision. Caleb, the seeker of worth, rebuilt his world by demanding respect. Their stories, and yours, prove that unwavering standards are the lighthouse that pierces any darkness. They illuminate your path, attract the right souls, and inspire beyond measure. The key lesson is clear. When you elevate your standards, you don't just survive, you transform, becoming a force that reshapes everything in your orbit. Celebrate this profound shift. Let it fuel you as we prepare to journey deeper in the next chapter, where we'll explore how to sustain this light through every challenge. For now, hold this truth close. Let it be your guide. Let it be your strength. Stand as the lighthouse. Your beam will change the world.